Hello everybody, thanks for watching. Today I'm going to do a video talking about something that I didn't think I would be going over again, and that's my tent I've been using for the last year and a half, the 3F UL Gear Lanshan 2. Now the reason I'm doing this is not to do a review and go over all the specs with the tent. I mean, that's been played out between two videos that I did on doing a gear review on this. I have almost about 17,000 views on that, and for my little channel that's quite a lot of views. But with those views came a lot of comments, a lot of questions, and a lot of frustration on how to set this tent up. I'm not going to go through the whole thing of showing you how to set this tent up, but there are questions. For example, people are asking, hey, I'm 6'2", I'm 6'3", will I fit in this tent? How do I get this tent to be nice and taut and so it looks real symmetrical when I set it up? The other thing is, what do I set my trekking poles at? What about the stakes that came with it? Well, I'm going to go over all that with you here and see if it can clear up a few of those questions. Let me show you first. These are some of the stakes that I've used with this tent. Now, the reason I have all these different stakes is that you kind of do your homework before you go to where you're going to be camping out. For example, when I was out in the Sierras, I know it was very rocky, very sandy. I know that a normal stake would not hold, so I probably would have to use anything and put boulders on it. Going up into the Smokies Mountains, it seems like the soil was nice and firm. I could have used something different there. Down on the Florida Trail, everything was sandy. I had to use something different there. Well, this is the stake that came with it. All right, it's a little mini groundhog type stake. I think it's totally worthless. Anybody who's tried to use these, I don't know. I keep them. I don't know. Maybe I'll use them to put some shrimp or steak on them and use them as a skewer, as a barbecue. But I don't use these anymore. I hold on to them for I don't know what reason. Lately, I've been using a titanium Sheppard Hook. Now, the holding power on these aren't as good as some other stakes, but I feel like when the ground is very hard, or you get a good grip on it, these are very handy, and I love them. These are 6.5 inches. You can buy them on Amazon fairly cheap, and this is a Sheppard Hook and it's titanium. I like them a lot. I had an older tent which kind of had this V-shape stake. I still use these. They're light, they're made of aluminum, but I use these on my pullouts from my vestibule area. I find that if a tent's going to collapse on you, it's going to collapse on you from the two vestibule areas. The 4 stakeouts, or how many stakeouts that you have around it, aren't as important as the stakes you put into the vestibule. This is a 7-inch stake and it works very well. I've used it many a times, and the only problem I had is when I was out west, I banged it with a rock, some of these, and the top of it bent over, but you can bend it back. I mean, when things get really bad, I carry 2 of these. These, you can see how they are. These are made out of titanium. They're kind of a groundhog type of stake also. These are actually 8 inches long. Now, if I know, I'll carry 2 of these with me because they're so light. And these will be, again, only used in my vestibule area. Now, the other thing, when you purchase this tent, it came up all rolled up nicely in this sil nylon bag. Well, I have a couple of these tents, by the way, but the first sil nylon bag that it came in, it took approximately 2 days when I was carrying it out in the Sierras to rip apart. And the reason it did is because I had to carry a bare food canister, so I kept my tent on the outside and it kind of sat on the bottom portion of my tent. Well, this got torn up. Luckily, I had with me a Sea to Summit. This is a 13-liter waterproof bag, very durable, and that held up real well, and that's pretty much what I keep my tent in right now. The one that it came with, it's kind of useless, and it's really hard to stuff it in there. I don't feel like you got to roll it up and put it in. Just pretty much find a bag big enough to stuff the tent in. Second of all, now the third thing I do is want to go over your trekking poles. I keep mine at, I guess this is 48 centimeters or at right around 125. Why do I do that? Because that's what I hike with. That's exactly the size and length that I hike with. And it seems to work well. I don't have to constantly switch it around and change it when I'm setting up my tent. Now I feel that, you know, this can be real versatile. I think you can go anywhere from 115 up to 125, maybe a little bit more. So anywhere in between, and that would be like from 44 centimeters up to 48 to 50 centimeters works well with this tent. There's no set height or that you really have to use. It's just a matter of how high you want to get in the center of the tent around the vestibule, and how far you want to stretch out the bathroom bathtub floor. So that's it with the trekking pole.
As you can see, I laid my tent out.
Let's
and
get
I staked
into
out all four
a few
corners.
things.
And
Once I have
let's
this
go
tent
ahead
set
and
up,
show you how
I'm
I
going to lay it
adjusted
out
everything.
and just go over a few things for you. So
on each
hang in there, I'll be
corner,
right back.
there is, of course, a strap. When it came out of the box, my straps are upside down for some known reason. If you can see, there is a little orange tab right here. That needs to be pointing up. For some reason, mine was upside down, and I could not get any tension on that loop right there. So make sure that they're in place like that. Also, you want to make sure that when you stake your corners out, it kind of runs in line with the actual seam of the tent. That whole seam that comes down, all that area should be in line with the line from the stake. I think that'll help out in getting the tent more taut, and you'll find that this is going to be easier for you when you set up.
Whew. It's hot out here. Whew. Yay. Getting to be summer in Florida. Get me in the mountains, please. All right. I forgot one thing. This is for everybody who is taller and want to know how they will fit in this tent without the bug netting, the inner netting portion of it, coming down and hanging near your face or on your face, especially when you have a blow-up mattress and a pillow. It will work. What I purchased, and I've shown this before, this is a very, very light little, it's actually used as a pole holder for a fishing pole. It telescopes out, and it gets to be, I don't know what that is, maybe 24 to 30 inches, but just enough to, let me show what I do with this. Of course, you could use a stick in the woods, but when I get into camp, I don't want to run around and start cutting branches down and using a stick. This is with me. It's really light. It goes right in with my tent, and let me show you how this works.
Because it applies a lot of pressure to the two side tie outs. Okay, this is pretty much what I think, in my opinion, for me, is the perfect pitch for this tent. As you can see, I staked out the corners nice and kind of equal with the seam of the tent. She could have came out a lot straighter than that, but I think I have a real nice pitch on this, and it's real taut. The ridge line looks good, and as I go around, I can, you know, see all the stakes are right within the same direction as the seam of the tent, and on all four corners. Also, on the vestibule, it comes with these loops. One loop when you buy it out, get it out of the box. Do not take them out. I actually added a second one because of my last trip. It was confined to a smaller space, so I needed to put another loop in it. But once you get it set, leave it that way, and that way you can use your vestibule and zip it from the inside, attach it to these clips, and to be able to zip it up inside and from the outside and be able to use your vestibule to the fullest. I think I have the pitch real good too, because I only have just the round amount of space underneath it in order to get a good breeze coming through the netting into the tent. Make sure that you put the tip of your pole into that rubber loop that's in the bottom. This will pull the flooring out and also lift the flooring up to the proper height and get the flooring nice and smooth inside. Make sure the handle of the trekking pole is up and underneath that reinforced section, as you can see up on top, and make sure that it's on the outside of the netting and on the inside of the vestibule. Truly the most frustrating thing on the whole tent is to get those those guidelines from the vestibule tied in properly, the ones that are on the loops. But once you have them set, you should last. This little loop up here, by the way, people want to know what that's for. Well, in my opinion, I think if you don't use your trekking poles, you can set your tent up from a ridge line, like tie it from one end to a tree to the other side to a tree, and that way you can set up your tent in that direction. Other than that, if somebody else knows what those loops are for, that's fine. So everybody, hopefully that is the very last time I do a review of the Lanshan 2 3F UL Gear. You would think I'm some kind of ambassador for this company, which I am absolutely not. But, you know, there's a couple other YouTubers. One in particular is Senior Hiker 77. He's done a ton of videos on this tent also, and he's also included a video on the 4-season inner portion of the tent. So, what do I think of this tent still? Well, I think after a year and a half, I don't think there's any better deal on the market right now. I wish there was. I wish there was an American company that did it so I could buy one from them. I know Meir, M-I-E-R, is still the Chinese company being sold here on Amazon in the United States. But when I bought these tents, they were $89 a piece. With shipping from China was, I think the grand total, everything was just over $100. Well, these tents now are at $129, both from ALLIEXPRESS and from Amazon. Still, I think that it's a great deal. I don't think there's anything out there on a trekking pole tent, double wall, 2-person, that even comes near that price. I put a link still at the bottom of this video to where you can purchase this tent still in the 3 different colors. The one I showed you here now is actually what they call a gray. To me, it's white. Mine's actually turning gray from dirt, but yeah, go ahead and check out that link. It's, like I said, it's $129. A lot of people have ordered from this particular link and have received this tent with no problems whatsoever. So, other than that, oh yeah, at the end of this video also, check out some of these pictures that I took from around our great country here, where I was camping out and showing you where I use this tent and all the setups and how I progressed over the last year and a half setting this tent up. And then hopefully in 3 weeks I'm going to hit the trail again. I'm going to be somewhere up north, I'm not sure, probably in the Smoky Mountains or somewhere near there. It's going to be either the end of May or the beginning of June I'll be doing that. I'm a real estate broker here in Florida at RE/MAX, so I have some work and transactions I got to tie up before I can get out of here, but I'm jonesing to do it. So again, folks, thank you very much for following Walker's World. Please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.